evening, everyone. My name is Nitin Agarwal. On behalf of the SRS Podcast Committee, I'm really fortunate to have another episode of the Scoliosis Dialogues, part of the SRS Podcast. Today, we have a very special episode where we're going to be reviewing all the awards available for residents, fellows, and attendings that are available through SRS. Today, we have joining us Dr. Paul Celestre, the chair of the awards committee. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's an honor to have you, sir.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So what we wanted to try and do today is walk through some of the different awards available. The opening time frame was January 1st, and we're open until March. And so it's a great time to get these in. And fortunately, SRS actually offers a host of different awards for different levels. And so we want to be able to get everybody to get a chance to get this in before March 1st. If you could sort of give us a breakdown on the different types of opportunities available, we would be grateful.
Sure. We have a number of different opportunities right now. And as you pointed out, applications became open January 1st and they close on March 1st. And that's a hard deadline. So I wanted to talk first about the only fellowship or award that requires you to be a candidate or active member of the SRS. And that's the Edgar Dawson Traveling Fellowship. That's actually somewhat close to my heart, as Dr. Dawson was staff at UCLA where I was a resident. And that provides $2,000 for the awardee to travel to one spine deformity center for approximately 2 or 3 days and basically visit and enhance their own education skills. And they must be a candidate or active member. They have to be younger than 45, and they have to reside in North America.
Are there any particular qualifications or when would be a good time to apply that you would suggest or recommend?
I think there's some value to being a little ways into your career to sort of have your own patterns and routines. Certainly, I think that anybody can apply. And we do look at people who are, towards the end of the eligibility period. But at the same time, anybody that's been in practice a couple years and is at that point where they want to say, well, I know how I do it. I want to go see how someone else is doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the note for younger people, I was fortunate to have been awarded the SRS Traveling Fellowship for Residents and Fellows a couple years back. And is that still available? And
absolutely it is. Well, so what do you mean by traveling fellowship? The current one we have is the one that allows people to attend the annual meeting or IMAST.
Yeah, that's exactly the one that I was given, and I thought that was a great experience. If you could give us a little bit more information on that, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's open to specifically orthopedic or neurosurgery residents or pediatric or spine surgery fellows who have a particular interest in pediatric spinal deformity. You have to reside in North America. You have to demonstrate financial need. I think for a resident or fellow, that shouldn't be particularly difficult because we've all been there. And you can't have received an award from the SRS within the past 2 years. I think that you are able to visit either IMAST or SRS per your choosing, and you have to submit a report to the committee within 60 days of your attendance at the conference.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity that SRS has this breadth of awards available from the younger folks all the way up to the elder folks. What about the research awards? I know there's several different ones available.
Research specifically is outside of my purview. I think we have a couple other scholarships and visiting fellowships to discuss, if that's all right.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah. So the next one I want to bring up was the Eduardo Luque Scholarship. And that's specifically for residents of either Mexico, Central or South America, or the Iberian Peninsula, so Spain and Portugal. And again, they have to be younger than 45 years of age. They have to have completed a residency in orthopedics or neurosurgery. And there's special sort of dispensation given to people who've completed a fellowship in spinal deformity surgery. And again, this is to allow $2,500 to participate either in the SRS annual meeting, in IMAST, or to help fund the 2-week fellowship.
The global outreach is awesome. Any other awards that we should be aware of?
Oh, absolutely. So now we're getting into the big money. So first off, let's talk about global outreach. So global outreach, again, you do not have to be a member of the SRS or even a candidate member, but you do have to provide letters of recommendation. You have to be from a country where you have to demonstrate significant financial need. Again, you have to be younger than 45 years of age. You have to be practicing spinal deformity surgery with a minimum of 2 years of experience. The goal of that is to provide $6,000 to help the recipient attend a single institution longitudinally for some time to visit and participate and observe the care of spinal deformities. The goal is for 3 to 4 weeks.
And speaking of which, during this time frame, we want to make sure that everybody's aware there are some achievement awards from Lifetime Achievement, and wondering if you give us some information on those as well.
Absolutely. Anybody out there, please nominate candidates for both the SRS Lifetime Achievement Award and the Walter P. Blount Humanitarian Award. We really need nominees for these, and I would solicit anybody listening to please give a nomination. Specifically,
who would qualify for each one? Who would qualify for each award type?
Yeah, absolutely. So the SRS Lifetime Achievement Award is specifically for someone who has distinguished service to the society, the Scoliosis Research Society, as well as in the care of spinal deformity patients. They have an interview with the SRS historian, and their conference fees are waived. And I believe they pay for travel and accommodations as well. The Humanitarian Award is for people who have demonstrated a specific bent towards humanitarian outreach in their career. And I think that all of us know someone out there, and they may not be the most famous surgeon, but I think you should really think about someone that you know that has dedicated their life to the care of spinal deformity surgeries and nominate them for the Humanitarian Award.
That's fantastic. Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit about, since you were the chair for the committee, any tips or tricks to be successful for these scholarships? What is the SRS looking for our listeners out there?
Well, I wanted to go over one more, and I think that will also partially answer your question. The most valuable scholarship is actually the Robert Winter Global Outreach Fellowship, and that's an award of $12,000 from a financially underserved country to allow them to participate in a traveling fellowship for 4 to 6 weeks at a SRS identified site, and that helps pay for both lodging and transportation. One of the goals of this fellowship is to then be able to go home to your country and disseminate knowledge there. And so I think, Dr. Agarwal, that's exactly what the awards committee is looking for, particularly when we're awarding the traveling fellowships, is that it's going to have a ripple effect, right? It's not just training one person who has involvement in either a fellowship or residency. Then that knowledge can really be disseminated, right? We want to see a multiplication effect rather than just one individual.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, I want to do a quick recap for all our listeners. So dates, as you said, were January 1 to March 1. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And for the younger folks, the Resident Fellow Scholarship is one of them. That's the North American Traveling Fellowship that you said to IMAST or to SRS that allows
Correct.
you to participate in the meeting. The Edgar Dawson Travel Fellowship is for older, more experienced individuals. And you said they need to be under the age of 45, and those are for people in North America.
That's correct.
If you could give us a quick rundown for the people outside of North America, which are the scholarships that they
Sure.
should be tuning in?
So people, again, younger than 45, living in Mexico, Central or South America, or the Iberian Peninsula can be candidates for the Eduardo Luque Scholarship, and that's $2,500 to participate either in the annual meeting, IMAST, or a traveling fellowship. We talked about the Global Outreach Visiting Fellowship, $6,000, 45 years or younger, practicing spinal deformity surgery with a minimum of 2 years of practice. And that's a goal for 3 to 4 week fellowship. And then the Robert Winter Global Outreach Fellowship, which is $12,000, again, 4 to 6 weeks, identified SRS site for a more in-depth fellowship. And really someone who is a good candidate for that will be able to then disseminate not only their knowledge, but also practice complex spinal deformity surgery in their home institution.
Well, I'm very appreciative of your time. I would end with saying, is there anything else that you want to add for all our listeners and re-emphasize March 1 is that hard deadline that you said.
Absolutely. Please think of nominees for the Lifetime Achievement Award and Walter P. Blount Humanitarian Award.
We really appreciate your time, Dr. Celestre, and thanks for giving all that information to all our listeners.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
The Scoliosis Research Society is a nonprofit professional organization made up of physicians and allied health personnel. Their primary focus is on providing continuing medical education for healthcare professionals and on funding and supporting research in spinal deformities. Please visit srs.org for further information.